Hello Nippies, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, hi, hello, I'm Nips, a freelance artist, and today we are going to be opening, trying, and reviewing the new Tourbox Elite Plus. I know this is a sponsored video, okay, hold on. If you've been here before, you know that I have also reviewed their Tourbox Elite and also their Tourbox Lite, which is a smaller version of these two, but it was actually a TikTok instead. Ever since I tried this one. Hi, Editing Nips here. I'm not sure why I didn't mention it because I actually do talk about it all the time, that my swap over to the Tourbox wasn't actually immediate. I did put it down for a couple months before I picked it up and decided to give it another go because the barrier of entry was so high and I do not do well with change. But when I fell for it, I fell hard, and now I am absolutely in love with it. And I really wanted to mention this because it just felt like I completely glossed over that and just made it seem like I liked it from the beginning. And maybe if some of you get it, you might experience that and just be completely disillusioned. So wanted to be honest, let's get back to the video. It has been my #1 day-to-day essential art making tool. This thing is so good. It's funny because when I actually finished this, I told them, you only need one thing to make this product perfect, and that is iPad integration. And oh my goodness, here we are. Finally, I cannot believe that they actually reached out and did it. I'm so excited. I think the Tourbox has reached its final form. And if you don't know what these look kind of like gaming controllers, no? Honestly, I kind of like to think about them that way because they feel like that, and it's kind of fun if you're a gamer, you know? So if you're somebody that uses the computer a lot, things like Control Z, transforming, playing games, you can literally program every single one of these buttons to do whatever you want. And not just each button, but you can program multiple combinations, and then you can have different mappings depending on what program you're using, and it'll switch from one program to the other automatically just by opening the windows. So this thing is seriously incredible, even down to the haptics, which if you don't know what they are, it's basically what it sounds and feels like when you're using the actual buttons. Just listen. So satisfying. You have settings for when the buttons are going to activate. Is it going to activate on releasing it, on pressing it immediately? Is the shortcut going to loop if you leave the button pressed? I just cannot speak any more highly of this, even outside of sponsors, because it truly is such an amazing product. And this video specifically is not going to go into the usage of this on the PC because I've already reviewed and covered that. So I'll link the video up in the corner and down below. If you guys are interested, it'll go over how to set up the program, my preferred settings, how it runs, how it feels. And this video will just focus on using it on the iPad because that is the new difference and functionality between this one and the old one. So as I'm finally getting to opening the Tourbox, I'm immediately a little bit sad because the old one actually came with the USB cable. You say, well, what's the problem? Just get a normal USB-C cable. But this one specifically I loved because it had this, you know, when you own electronics and you just have them straight and they bend all the time and it gets ruined. But this just felt so snugly and perfect for it. I think they sell it separately, but that did make me kind of sad. Even though these two are seemingly exactly the same, I actually noticed that the pressing of the buttons on the new one is kind of more satisfying. They changed very slightly the feel of some of the buttons. They just feel much easier and softer to press. If you're drawing or editing or doing whatever for long periods of time, you don't feel like you have to press as hard and you're kind of getting finger fatigue. Not that I think this one required too much pressure, but this one is just so much lighter. I'm gonna see if maybe I can film a clip with the sounds to see if you can spot it because it's so subtle. So let's see. Did it work? I think that's the only real immediate thing that I see. Otherwise, it feels like these two are pretty much identical other than the iPad compatibility. Setting up the Tourbox was very, very easy. You know, turn on Bluetooth, connect. Setting up the program was very easy. And I think one of the things that has always impressed me about the Tourbox programs is how clear and intuitive they are for how complex they can be. And so it was really cool to see that reflected in the iPad in the same way that it was in the PC. Same level of depth, but also very simple to use. You have it separated by program, key combos, and I think obviously once you get to using the iPad, you now have to deal with hand gestures and controls as your keyboard shortcuts. It had its own sections with, you know, automated gesture controls and then Apple commands. It was just so cool to see because the programs themselves have their own setting within the Tourbox settings. So when I was setting up Procreate, it had preset Procreate tools already integrated, which is honestly incredible. And even within Procreate, if you use it, you know that you can set up your own custom like gesture controls. And if you have that, you can combine them with the Tourbox's presets and your own custom ones. And so possibilities do be kind of endless. Normally when I use the iPad, I have two little like Bluetooth keyboards that I interchange from, and I usually never know where to put them. It's not really comfortable. I have to, again, still be checking the keys. But now I can literally take this from my PC to my iPad setup, travel with it. Just once I started working, I was just right at home. And for this piece, I actually decided to do a portrait study. I had already filmed this once with a different art piece and I didn't really like the direction. And so I redid it with something that I want to share with you guys, which is kind of my journey into exploring more brushes, textures, color combos, and even shape language. And so I was really happy when I finished this piece, posted it on Twitter, and everybody just, the reception was so nice. So thank you all so much. All right, let's get into some art commentary. And actually, before I do that, small disclaimer, you'll see there my iPad glitching. It is very, very old. And you know what? I just have to deal with it at this point. I've tried fixing it, but one day, new tablet will come. And while I started this, I tried to focus on just very stylized shapes. I think sometimes I forget to break things down to their fundamental silhouettes. And so it was really fun to explore that here. I specifically picked this reference picture because it felt like there were a lot of cool forms and the earring just looked so cool. Another thing I tried to do was to not eyedrop my colors. I feel like I keep myself from trying new palettes because I just constantly want to make it as accurate as possible. And so I try my best to just kind of go with values. I've been doing that on paper with like the Artix markers and everything. And so you'll see that I'm just kind of splashing in some fun tones while keeping it kind of similar to the original. And one of the things actually that you'll notice here while I put my hands on the screen is that I could not figure out how to map on the Tourbox moving my actual canvas. If you use Clip Studio, for example, the one on the iPad is very similar, if not a carbon copy of the one on the PC. And so it was very easy to just make the hand tool onto one of the buttons, but Procreate was designed for the iPad and therefore does not necessarily have a hand tool because your hand is the actual tool. I don't know if there's an actual way to do that. If somebody knows how to figure that out, please let me know. Another small issue that I had, nothing serious, don't worry. Like I said, within the Tourbox app, each of the programs have their own kind of tailored, custom, imported settings. And for Procreate, the brush size changing tool only goes in percentages, and an extra setting with dynamic brush control, which is the one that I use because the 1% one goes way too slow and I have to scroll too much to go to the smallest size and to the biggest. And for 5%, when I'm headed towards the smaller sizes, it just jumps way too quickly, so I kind of have to forego certain sizes, and it does it in the dynamic one as well, but not as bad. And so I don't think this is like a serious issue, but it was just something that I noted. For Clip Studio, it obviously does not do that, because if you know, on the iPad, Clip Studio is essentially identical to the one on the PC, and therefore has all the shortcuts by keyboard letters, and things go up and down very smoothly. Something random, but I don't know if any of you have noticed the incredibly unergonomic placement of my hand, and that is because I had to lean all the way back in order to make sure that my face did not show up in the reflection of the iPad. And I tried so many setups to make sure I got the right angle, lighting, and that the iPad and the Tourbox both ended up in the same shot. And I just could not. And so I decided to just endure the position for like an hour or two in order, you know, to get the perfect piece of art. And so just in case you're wondering, because the Tourbox normally is way more ergonomic and it sits like very, very comfortably in the palm of my hand. Overall, I am incredibly impressed with the Tourbox's performance. I mean, I knew it was going to be good, but my expectations were definitely blown out of the water. The new buttons, the program within the iPad, and I'm just so excited to take it traveling with me and continue to use it, as well as me being proud of this piece that I worked on today. I really want to create more stylized portraits, maybe make a couple dedicated videos to it. If you guys are interested, let me know down below. Okay. So you watched this far, your interest is piqued, you're curious, you want to go check it out, maybe get one of your own, and then you run into the prices, because we need to have a talk about this. I have heard people say the price is incredibly scary, unjustified, and everything under the sun. And I want to acknowledge it because it was one of the reasons why I never gave it a shot. And the only reason I have this here right now is because Tourbox was generous enough not only to sponsor this video, but the other two that I made. And so yes, the price point is very intimidating. And I've heard people say it just looks like a cheap plastic controller. And once I got my hands on this thing, I truly understood why it's worth the money that it's worth. Every single penny. Now that I have this one, I do actually want to go ahead and give my old one away. I'll be doing that over on X, Twitter, so that I can share this with someone. And hopefully you don't mind that it's been used, okay? It's been loved. Got some character development over here. I will let you guys know over there, and hopefully we'll find a good home. Again, a huge thank you to Tourbox for always sponsoring me and sharing their products with me. I truly am a diehard believer in sponsored content and outside of sponsored content. And I don't want to promise you, but I am very confident that you are going to like this. Maybe I'm projecting, but I love this so much that I think I would be willing to say that you will. If you are curious, I will put the links down below so you can check them out yourself. I'll also put the link down for the past review and my Patreon. Thank you so much to everybody on there just funding the everyday art dream. So I really do appreciate it. And also my shop, because I still have in stock some very limited, cute, fun merch. If you want to check it out and support, that would really mean a lot. And I do want to make some new merch actually for League of Legends' new card game, Riftbound. And I'm so excited to delve into that. So stay tuned. And yeah, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you liked it. Comment down below. Let me know what you thought of the video. And subscribe. Join the Nippy family. The more, the merrier. And I will see you guys next video. Bye!